Hello, friends. Well, we're into Jeremiah chapters 37 and 38, aren't we? This is fascinating information, fascinating material, don't you think? It's historical and it's so interesting, and there are great lessons to be learned from these chapters. Chapters 37, 38, it's clear that the incidents that are recorded in these chapters took place during the brief respite when the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem was lifted because of the approach of the Egyptian army. We are in the late spring or early summer of 588 BC. During this time, we have Zedekiah's two consultations with the prophet Jeremiah. And here's what stood out for me as I read these chapters: the contrast between Zedekiah and Jeremiah. Zedekiah appears to be a weak individual, doesn't he? Who's afraid of his own officials. It's obvious who has the real power in Jerusalem. And he's also afraid of those who have already surrendered to the Babylonians. I suppose he's afraid of what they might do to him if he joins them. Anyway, his consultations with Jeremiah are in secret because of his fear of his own officials. And in the second consultation, you get the sense that he knows what is the right thing to do, surrender to the Babylonians as Jeremiah advises, but he lacks the courage to do it. In short, we have a demonstration of weakness of character in Zedekiah. But in contrast to him, we have the prophet Jeremiah, who in this chapter is flogged and thrown into a dry cistern. Well, that's good. There's no water in the bottom of that well, but it is muddy. Imagine being thrown into a cistern, up to your ankles in mud. Who knows what kind of varmints are at the bottom of that dry well? And those cisterns have a narrow opening at the top, and then they balloon down at the bottom. And so if you're like me, a person who has a bit of claustrophobia, that's not what you want to face, being thrown into a dry cistern. Well, he's left there to die. No food, no water, no air, no help is apparent. But God sends him a friend who pulls him out of that cistern. And it's fascinating to me that even in duress, Jeremiah then goes before King Zedekiah, having been drawn out of the cistern, and he does not compromise the message of God. He has the courage to tell Zedekiah the truth. He says to him in chapter 38 and verse 14 and following, "If I tell you, you will only put me to death, won't you? And if I give you my advice, you won't listen to me. No, go ahead and tell me what you think I need to know," Zedekiah said. So Jeremiah has the courage of his convictions. He tells King Zedekiah that for his own sake he needs to surrender to the Babylonians. He'll be spared if he does that, and they will not burn the city to the ground. Jeremiah says, just obey the voice of the Lord. I'm reading verse 20. Just obey the voice of the Lord in what I say to you, and it will go well with you. Boy, there's good advice for all of us there too. Just obey the voice of the Lord, and it will go well with you. But what amazes me is that even though Jeremiah is punished and left to die, he still tells Zedekiah the word of the Lord. He still tells him the truth. And this is a demonstration of strength of character, courage, and integrity. And you know how I'm going to apply this chapter, don't you? The application is that we want to be like Jeremiah and not like Zedekiah. We want to have the courage to stand up for what is right, even though we may be punished for it. We want to do the right thing. And so our prayer always is for strength of character, for courage, for integrity, for God's help to do the right thing. Now in chapter 39, the fall of Jerusalem. You knew it was coming. And again, it's going to be a fascinating text, and I'll be with you in just a few days to talk about chapter 39. God bless.